Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. These are my stories of choice, change and action, along with the phenomenal guests I have on here. From a really young age, I've always desired to create a change in the world. The planet has been a constant inspiration to me, and Access Consciousness has shown me the tools to know that anything is possible. And I keep choosing. What are you going to choose? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast. So you are with me, obviously. Simone Milasas, your host. And I am in my office in Pridgin Beach in Australia. And today, God, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name, Sergei. I'm going to leave that to you. So I have Mr. Sergei. What's your last name?
Nakoliushkin.
Oh, I love Russian. Nakoliushkin. That's not too bad, right?
Nakoliushkin. Yes.
Nakoliushkin.
Yeah.
And Sergei, it should be, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
Sergei. So Sergei's in Moscow, and he jumped on here to do this podcast with me, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And it's 1:30 in the morning for him, and he goes, "It's just audio, right?" And I was like, "No, it's video too." So if you're listening to us, don't forget you can swing on over to the YouTube channel and you can see how beautiful and handsome Sergei is at 1:30 a.m. in Moscow, Russia. So thank you for being here. Now
I'm happy to be here with you.
Good. Yeah, eventually we had a few different mishaps with this timing. So, but we're here now. So how does it get any better than that? So you're an Access Consciousness facilitator. You are also one of our translators, Captain Obvious. It's like you translate Russian. You're so amazing the way you do that as well. Because as a facilitator, you know when translators get what you're saying and they get the questions, etc. And then when someone's not, or they're missing out words, it sort of goes crunch in your world. And I always love it when you translate, Sergei, because it's like this flow, like this energy between that you just know that it's, the tools of access are getting out there into the world and in Russia. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And one of the things I wanted to bring up today was the topic of joy, which is interesting. People go, "What joy?" And Sergei's in Russia and blah blah blah. And what I don't know where we're going to go with this, but what I wanted to start talking to you about and asking you questions is, okay, so let me go back a little bit. Is when I guess everything hit the fan and the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, etc. There's an energy I noticed that you were being, and it was the energy of joy no matter what. So can you lead us into that and your choices, the action that you take to be that? And I guess in the adversity of people panicking and fear and all that sort of stuff. And I noticed what you were being was something entirely different.
Thank you so much. Really, like that. There's two things that my mind led to. Is first of all, I would love to tell people and just tell the story how Access emerged in my life, how I chose to be something different. And it was like six and a half years ago. And at that point, I was quite devastated with my career, with my relationship and everything. And at the same time, I was pretty joyful kid, pretty joyful teenager. And the energy I've had with people, because mostly we communicate with people. And it was mostly like, how much fun can we have? And what helped me a lot those days when I met Access, when I got to practice the tools, is really to know what's true for you. And I'm so freaking grateful when you know what's true for you, and the lie would feel really heavy. And when you see so many heavy things, it becomes so clear what is you, what is the truth of you, and what is not. And since that point, I remember maybe I was practicing access bars. You can know, you can get to know more about access on Access Consciousness website. But this simple process, I was practicing that for a month or so. And at some point, I was like, wow, life can be so much easier, so much lighter. I can feel myself so much easier and better. And at some point, I just made a choice, no matter what, no matter happens, no matter how shitty my, for example, I don't know, financial situation is, or my relationship is, I will choose joy over everything. And that what has become my credo, I would say. And of course, we have bad days. Of course, bad hair days is just sometimes they they happen. But the choice itself to be so much kind of, I would say, true with yourself.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that helped me a lot. And we have different situations in our lifetime, like good, bad, heavy. Sometimes are like they are pleasant. Some of them are not at all. At the same time, like what do you choose to be in these 10 seconds? That tool that helped me so much, so much. And I don't know about the situation. Yeah, this is the shit had hit the fan, and so many people went into the reaction, into having the need of having a position, a point of view about this. Guys, the wars, the peaceful times, they were like throughout the whole history, but like how much that you make that situation greater than yourself, than what you want to be right now and what you want to choose right now. This is the question. Because I've had different experiences. I've helped some people from Ukraine that asked me for some help, like for facilitation, because like we have bombings nearby, or at the same time I could meet people who were unfriendly to me, but that's also the choice that they were making, and having allowance to that would be like a pretty good company to deal with that as well.
I love the way you're talking about this. And also, I noticed, and if you're listening to this, maybe tap into the energy that Sergei is being, because we're using words, right, to have this conversation, but go even beyond that, go further than that. And there's an energy that you can choose with all of this. And I get that's one of the things that I so sensed about you, with all of this. And you actually said to me, that you chose to sort of go above it. Like it's sort of like this joy and soar above it. And if that helps you anywhere, if you're listening to this with any area of your life, it's like, go reach out. It's like, I mean, you've got your body here, it's right here, but you, the being, are huge. You're all over the entirety of the universe, you're massive. So take yourself way out, above and beyond all of that, and know that energetically there's another possibility. There's always a different possibility. And I mean, even as an example, yesterday, I am dealing with some really interesting stuff at the moment with solicitors and lawyers, etc. And financial stuff and all of this. And it's so this reality. And it's like, what do I mean by this reality? Well, it's the fear, it's the rightness, the wrongness, the legality, the what you're supposed to do, as opposed to, this. And I got this letter yesterday from a solicitor, and it was like 5 pages long, and all this stuff that they're asking me that I need to give them. It would take me 6 months to give them for this something that I'm trying to sort out, right? And I looked at it, and the first initial thing, and you mentioned this, reaction, right? And I want
Yeah.
to talk about the difference between reaction and action, because the first initial thing I did was reacted, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, are you serious? And I went into this like dark, deep hole quicker than anything of just like, are you kidding me? This is like, And I looked at it and went, this is going to take so much time, money, and energy. My life is way better than this. Like, I don't need to do this. So then I went, right. And I moved into my kitchen and I looked at it again and I went, what's beyond this? Like, there's another possibility beyond this. This is not my reality. It's not my reality. Okay. So what else? So I spoke to Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, and then spoke to hounding David Kubis. He was in Europe and he's asleep. And I swear to God, I'd sent the thing going, wake up, David, wake up. I need you. I need you, you know? And then David woke up and spoke to him. And now there's like this different plan in place. But it was like, and I rang Gary yesterday and I said, hey, I just want to thank you so much for the tools. Like, thank you. From that day, like Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, was, you know, he worked in antiques, he was working in real estate, he had different businesses. And then all of a sudden, you know, he got this hit that he was meant to be doing something different. Now, how many people get that hit that they're meant to be doing something different, but then they keep doing the same thing and just bitching and moaning and complaining about it? But he knew that there was a different possibility. And I said, thank you so much for continuing in what you did in the Access tools, because you've helped so many people. I mean, me yesterday, I was just like, wow, if I didn't have the tools and I didn't have the people in my life who are so much smarter, and it's not just intellectually smart, it's like smarter from awareness and using that. It's like I would have been like swirling around in this place of just thinking I had nowhere to go, and that's not true. It's like you always have a different possibility, you always have a greater possibility available. But you've got to look at, and what Sergei said too was not going to reaction. It's like, what action can I take? Like, immediately what I did was I actually wrote this email and responded, and I knew it was all reaction, but it helped me get it out. And I didn't press send. And I went, this is what I want to send, you know, but I went, that's not going to, like, it's not going to create anything, you know, but it helped me just write it out because I just wanted to go, are you fucking kidding me? You know, but I was like, okay, don't send it. Don't send it.
Yeah.
Just leave it. What action can I take that's going to match the energy of creating a greater possibility? So can you talk a little bit more about that and the difference between reaction and action, and how you choose and what you have chosen, you know,
Yeah.
being in Russia right
It,
now. Yeah.
yeah, it's just for me the indication of like action versus reaction would be firstly that the reaction would lead to contraction of you, your body, and the sense of having a limited space is just simple. Like at first, like we in Access we talk a lot about space, like being the space, having the space. For some people, it sometimes like abstract, but feel yourself, like imagine yourself in the wild, in the woods, at the river, at the seaside, or some. You feel light, and this is like really essential. Like you want to always to have that. It's the same with all our communications, decisions, and everything. If we go into reaction, that means, damn, your reality is contracted right now. This is not all the possibilities that can come into your world. So how much space can we be with everything? And I'm so grateful that you so many times I'm listening to your podcasts and classes and I translate them so much. You're so often you were using relaxation, and not just the word, but it even saying I want to have more relaxation and I want to relax, or asking the question, how much can I relax into this? It helped me really a lot because it essentially brings space. We can be really active, we can be really precise, we can be focused. At the same time, we can be pretty relaxed with everything. Because if we don't make the situation or the subject bigger than us, like
Yeah.
it's not I love what Gary was always saying, like there's nothing that you cannot handle. If universe provides you with that, that
Mm-hmm.
means you can handle that.
Yeah.
And
And one of my favorite questions with things like that is, well, what awareness am I gaining with this? And I
exactly.
also said yesterday, I was driving home and I was like, what's so funny about this? I'm not laughing about it. And I kept asking that question over and over again. What's so funny about this? I'm not laughing about it. And then I was talking to Brendan Watt and he goes, did you start laughing? And I went, not quite. And I was like, but it did ease up in my world a little bit. Like I was giving it my best shot, you know. What's so funny
Yeah,
about this? I'm not laughing about it. So, which is a great question. It's a funny question because it's like you do. Like, how many of us take life so friggin' seriously, and it doesn't have to be. And I sort of want to reiterate on this energy that you've
sure.
been talking about here, because you mentioned, you know, the lakes, the seaside, you know, the mountains, etc. And I mean, I've been lucky enough. You've sent me some photos of the places that you've been, which are absolutely beautiful and stunning. So as soon as you say that, I can tap into that energy of that, and I have the beach across the road, etc. And a lot of us find it really easy to have that sense of lightness and that sense of us. And you mentioned this in one way, and I just would like to reiterate this as well, is like knowing who you are. Like if you truly know who you are, then you don't have to buy into the masses of people reacting, or you know, the fear, the scarcity, the lack, the, you know, the judgment, etc. If you have that sense of space wherever it is you are, and as Sergey said, you should be able to have that anywhere. Like practice having it like in the middle of a city, you know, or on a really packed plane, and it's like you still have that sense that you're, you know, by a river or an ocean or the bush or the woods or whatever it is for you, you know. It's like tap into that energy and know who you are and be that energy. That's an action you can take. And how many
Yeah.
times when you're surrounded by people, I mean, one of my favorite memes is that Charlie Brown, when he's in bed with Snoopy and he's like sitting there and he's got his hands on the, you know, he's not getting out of bed, and he said, he's like, I'm not going outside today. It's too peoply. And I'm like, God, that is so me. It's like, I meet people all the time, but I'm like, it's too peoply out there, you know. But when it's too peoply, it's like, why? It's because you also pick up on all of their thoughts, feelings, and emotions and everything that's going on for them. That's not even theirs, like their head, you know, and it's like their heads are loud, like, especially if you're on a plane or something like that. So then
Yeah.
my tool would be the action you can take is what I was suggesting before, is expand out, like your being, expand out and tap into, you know, even if you haven't been there, it's like, but we've just spoken about it. So you have the capacity to tap into, you know, the rivers, the lakes, you know, the mountains that Sergei's just talking about in Russia. It's like, or the ocean that's across the road here, or whatever that is for you. If you have an area that you have that sense of peace, no matter where you are, it's like tap into that energy and know who you are, know
Yeah.
what works for you.
And also asking, really like what I love about functioning from questions and not so much of like with conclusions is just really if you ask for something, like more or less, but universe will provide the if you are not we can call it universe, we can call it like energies, we can call it anything because people like to be really like strict and precise with this is that or this is that, but like really asking to the nature to contribute. I so many times being in the city, I ask to my favorite places, I connect with them. You can say I'm imagining that place, like me being in that place, and I try to kind of pull energy through me, through that place, through those like beautiful trees, beautiful water, animals, and through my body. This is, by the way, one of the tools we're using a lot is just the energy pool. And you can pull that energy through yourself, and that brings like sometimes I get so much energized,
Mm.
or I get so much more light in my body or anything else, but the nature is willing to provide no matter where you are. Because like the city is also part of the planet, and if we don't consider like the city being separate and the nature being separate and people being separate, if we take ourselves out of that construct of separation, that allows you like to get so many like sources of energy anywhere.
I love that you just mentioned that, taking you out of the construct of separation, because I think a lot of the times when we've been talking about like know who you are as well, people go to, oh, that's me being selfish, or that's me. And it's like, no, if you're truly choosing you each and every day and each and every moment, then there is no separation. It's like you have this ability to be engaged with every single, you know, person, molecule across the whole entire planet. And, you know, if we were being that, all of us on the planet, what could we create? Like, what could we actualize? What could we choose? Like, what could show up that would be different? And
Yeah,
I'm all up for being an allowance, as you mentioned before, of what people are choosing, but also let's create a different reality. Like, let's create a different world here. It's time for a
yeah.
different point of view.
I love that. I love
Mm,
that. And this all what has been like so exciting for me for all these years is just really like seeing the world from the different perspective.
yeah.
Not from the rules or traditions or anything. Like this place can be so much kinder. We have lots of caring and kindness inside us. There's lots of other things that we make real, but like this is like upon us, like if we choose the truth of us or we
Mm.
choose um, to be something else, which we
So
which we see a lot. Yeah,
you mentioned at the beginning about when you actually found access and started getting your bars run, and that you're working in this well, actually, I don't know what the job was. I went to say corporate. That's funny. Was it corporate?
yeah, it
Okay.
was pretty
So corporate
corporate.
world, in your relationship, etc. Now, a lot of the times people just stick it out, relationship and work. They just sort of go, well, this is my job, this is what I trained for, this is my relationship, I've been in it for X amount of years, This is sort of my, you know, I dug my grave, now I live in it, sort of thing. And choosing something different, like taking that action to choose something different. Can you talk a little bit about like how that was for you and any tools that you would suggest to people that are like, damn, I'd love to leave my job and my relationship or change it up, like whatever it is?
Yeah, I would suggest to just start asking a question like, what would my life be in 50 years if I choose that? And start sensing the like, what do you feel about like making this choice? How is it? Sometimes I'm practicing like I'm making one choice, I'm making a decision, okay, I'm doing this. And I live for about like I don't know, 12 hours with that choice. How do I feel about that? If it's not light, if it's not the best choice for you, it would be a constant buzzing thing, like maybe kind of paranoish, but something like something that goes wrong. And then okay, I stop that, I make another choice and see how do I feel with that, and I start living my life. Okay, I will do this and I will see how it goes. And you just practicing that, you take on the suit of
Mm.
creating the future with this choice. So what suit fits you better, uh, is upon you for you to sense, to realize, to sometimes cognitize, because sometimes like you're like, oh, that's why it's light, oh, that's why I've made that choice, and after that you can come up with some really like points
Mm.
why did it worth it. But at
Well,
first, like
mm.
I would say use the sense, your sense, like how is it light really? Or sometimes like to connect with the future, what future will that bring?
That's a really good way of doing that. And I just want to explain it in a slightly different way in case people are wondering what Sergei is talking about, is
Yeah,
that
please.
you indulge it, you make this choice, right? So you indulge in the energy. So say for example, we're talking about, you know, a job, his work. And so you go, okay, you know, you're like, you wake up in the morning and you're like, man, I don't want to go. And you're getting grumpy. And, you know, you're that sort of person that's like, oh, great, it's Thursday, it's almost the end of the week or something like that. If you've got that headspace going on, then as Sergey said, you need to ask the question, is this actually what you truly want to choose? Like, where's my life going to be in, I mean, Sergey said 50 years, start with 5, start with 10 years. Where's my life going to be in 10 years time if I keep choosing this, right? And then you indulge that you stay in this job, right? but you indulge in the energy. And as Sergei's saying, it's like you make this choice. And for me, it's like you just get this download. So you stay in this job and you're like, wow, there's not much joy in that. You know, you're like, and you can feel your life sort of like heading down this like big black dark hole, etc. And then indulge again. And Sergei said 12 hours on, you know, etc. It's like, if you can, it's like, do it for 3 days, or if you've got a short period of time, do it for 3 hours, you know, because you get the download. And it's about you getting out of your own way, because we tend to try and overthink things. And you know, you work out the pros and cons. Don't work out the pros and cons. It's like, go with your awareness. So the next thing you indulge in, okay, I'm going to leave my job. I have no idea what's next, because sometimes you don't have to have another job to go to. Like in relationships, I see a lot of people choose another relationship, but they won't break up with one relationship until they've found somebody else. And it's like, what if you actually allowed yourself the space, you know?
Yeah.
So even if you go, okay, I'm going to leave this job, I have no idea what's next. Are you going to be
Yeah.
okay? And you indulge in that choice. And if it makes your world lighter, then it's like, okay, let's go. Like, what if, you know, as we spoke about right at the beginning, you know, life is about choosing joy. I mean, I remember Gary Douglas said to me one day, you know, what if your life was about having fun? Like, what if it was about the, you know, the pleasure of living? And I was so annoyed with him, because I thought, do you know how many times I've talked about this, about why am I here? I'm meant to help people, help animals, do something. And he was like, no, what if you're here to have fun? And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's actually a possibility, you know. And what if you
Yeah.
looked at your life and you use these tools of indulging? It's I mean, at the moment I'm indulging in going to live in Europe for a few months next year. I'm getting a little bored with Australia. You know, it's like, I'd like to have a base over in Europe that I could have. And it's like, yeah, I think I might do it. Like, I'll
Yeah.
see. But, you know, I'm indulging
Yeah.
in the energy of it. And then you see how things show up, because the universe has your back. Like, if you indulge and the universe goes, hey, here you go, I've so been waiting for you to make a different choice. I'm ready. Let's go. You know, that's the action you need to take, not sitting back just complaining and moaning and bitching about what's not happening. You actually got to choose.
Yeah. You got to be the seeker. And you've mentioned like me getting out of like the corporate world. It was like my demand, because I was searching for some new knowledge, new, I don't know, ways of learning stuff, of knowing stuff. And I've tried different like books, like modalities and etc. till the right thing came. Like I would say, let's call it like the right thing for me
For
to
you.
really, yeah, for
Yeah, for
me
you.
at that
Yeah.
point, yeah. And I found that, and I'm still exploring that for
Mm.
myself.
How
And
did you meet? Like, when did you get your bars run first? What?
it was 2015 or December, right before Christmas. And I've had my bars run for maybe like 20 minutes or so. It was like
Yeah.
a light intro class. And immediately, like even 3 minutes after I entered that seminar, I I knew like, oh, that's the thing I want to be doing. The
Yeah.
like the next week I got fired, and the
You
next
got
week,
fired.
yeah, I
I
got
love
like
that. How
fired.
much did you create that?
I did create that, of course. And the second or the third January, I bought a massage table. I've had my first access bars class, and I started running sessions on people. That was my choice. Like I just knew, yeah, this is my thing. I'm going in.
Yeah. That's interesting um how many people, you know, involved in access consciousness just knew, like just knew. When I met Gary and I first heard him talk, I was like, holy shit, this guy's talking about everything, that how I see the world, that nobody, you know, I thought I was going crazy. It's like, you know, the men in the white coats are going to come and take me away any second, because the way I saw the world was so different. And it always felt like I was arguing with everyone, but I was just like, but that's not the way it has to be. Like, we don't
No,
have to buy into the trauma and drama. We don't have to buy into, you know, the fear or the lack or the scarcity or any of that. We can actually choose something different. And then people would look at me like, it's like, well, you know, what are you trying to do? Go against everything? And I'm like, no, I'm trying to have me. Like, and when I met Gary and the first time I heard him talk, I was so grateful. He was so irreverent, and he swore, which was really refreshing. And the one thing he said, which I went, oof, I like this man. He said, don't trust me, trust you. And I was like, God,
Yeah.
that is so refreshing, because so many people come along or modalities and they're like, you know, you have to do this. And if you don't do this, then blah, blah, blah. And he was like, don't trust me. He goes, you trust me, I'll lie to you. And he goes, trust you. What do you know? And how empowering is that, you know, to go, what do you know? Don't trust me. It's
Yeah.
like, come play if you want, but it's up to you. And it's like, what do you know? What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? And what are you not choosing to acknowledge about what you know, that if you did, would show up as this joyful, like exuberant, adventurous living that you should be choosing. And everything that is will you destroy and uncreate it. All right. And on good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds, which is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And you can find out more about it on theclearingstatement.com if you choose. But so much of that is like what we're avoiding and defending, rather than choosing that energy of
Yeah.
joy and peace and
I'd
ease.
I'd say the new world we might be entering is like what you were saying about like the power of your awareness and your knowing. Because like really, so many times we were underestimating the power that we have, why we do in Access, why we are so enthused with these tools, because like your world expands incredibly. Your awareness about all the things like expands day by day, minute by minute. And of course we want everybody to get this, and but at the same time, like what if like firstly you will choose it for you, like
Yeah.
how much you can expand your world, and maybe other people would like to join and to see like what else is possible, what world can we be creating together that
That's a
would be
brilliant
something
point.
different.
Yeah, that's a really brilliant point, Sergey, because I think for myself, I know, you know, as I saw the world in a different way and chose the world in a different way for myself, I so wanted everyone around me to choose for them as well and choose greater. And it's probably one of the hardest things to get, is that not everybody wants to choose that. Like I was like, wouldn't you choose happy if happy was there? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
no. And it's like, and I realized, especially in my family, some members of my family, I realized one day, oh, they're happy being unhappy. And I've spent my entire life trying to go, what if I just do this, or I do this, or I say this, or I bring this, or whatever, maybe that will make them happy. And the day I realized, oh, they're unhappy. They're happy being unhappy. That's their reality. That's their world. Okay. Is it completely and utterly like different to what I would choose? Yes. But then another tool that we talk about in Access Consciousness, and Sergei's mentioned, is being an allowance. And when I
Yeah.
started to be an allowance of what they were choosing, it allowed me to choose more of me. Like, not that you have to like hold on to everyone's hand and make sure that everyone's coming along for the ride. Not everyone wants to come along for the ride. But if you are listening to this and you want to come along for the ride, I'm so suggesting, it's like, don't trust Sergey and don't trust me. It's like, you know, go check out accessconsciousness.com and see if there's something that pings you. It's like, there's so many tools and everything on YouTube, on, you know, on the podcast, etc. Like, listen to past podcasts and go get your bars run. I actually
Yeah.
really avoided bars to begin with. I ran a million miles when I first got my bars run, but I know now that it was so much about receiving, and my whole world was crumbling. And it's like this, everything I had created as this, like, you know, barriers around myself was crumbling. And I was like, God, I can't put this wall back up quicker than what it was crumbling when I got my bars run. So me
Yeah.
being a control freak, I was like, I ran a million miles, and then I was so intrigued with the processing. That's what brought me to
Yeah.
Access. And
Yeah.
eventually I went, I need my bars run. Now I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, we both love the intellectual thing, but also like the bars can be like you cannot they can be a huge contribution to the quicker change, to the easier with change and with choices and creation with everything. Yeah, and this is like the example you were mentioning with the parents. It was so interesting that came up that this is the difference between understanding and really knowing, and having your awareness. Awareness and understanding are pretty different things. If you understand, you're so involved, you're so like under the pressure of that. But if you're just being in allowance and you're being aware of what other people choosing, what the countries are choosing, what anyone or anything is choosing, like this just brings you clarity. And having clarity for me, like this is like sometimes we got stuck, we got lost in situations, but when we get clear, what is it? What can I do with it? Can I change this? And if so, how can I change this? That helped me so in so many ways.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. Sergei, I could talk to you forever, but I pretty much think we're at the end of the podcast right now, and I'm sure you have to go
Yes.
to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
But actually the bars helped me to stay awake that long. An hour before we started, like I've had my bars run.
oh, good. I'm so glad. So, I want to thank you so much for being on here, and but I also want to thank you for who you are in the world, because you are
Thank you
such
so
a
much.
gift, Sergei, for everything that you choose and how you be in the world. So, just huge amounts of gratitude. Thank you for you.
Huge gratitude.
And we'll have it in the show notes, etc. But where can people find you? Like, do you your website, Instagram handle?
Instagram, Sergei Nakoliushkin. You will see it in the poster, I guess.
Yeah, try to spell it.
yeah. Try to spell it.
Yeah.
And Facebook and the website sergeynak.com. So
Okay.
you can
And
find
we
me
will
there.
have that all in the show notes as well. So again, thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere in the world. I think I will get to see you this year. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change, and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes. And lastly, have way too much fun today.